Over the past couple of months, I have been doing Stardew Valley non-stop, and this is my first year in Stardew Valley. So, if you guys want to see me go from peasant to, well, another peasant, so grab that Joja Cola and some chocolate popcorn and be ready for an hour and a half worth of time. I started off this day by opening up the box of parsnips that had been given to me by Mayor Lewis, which I was worried was a pipe bomb. Then I went outside and was not happy with the state of my farm, so I began to chop at the weeds and mine up the stone to make a little patch for my parsnips that I would be planting later on. After making a 3x5 patch for my parsnips, I was very happy, as shown by this little jig that I did. Since I wanted to see how much money I could earn in the next few months, I decided to look into finding the general store, which was run by Pierre. I immediately went and got as many potatoes as I could, which confused my wallet. I met Abigail, and then I met Marnie, and then I talked to Pierre. Afterwards, I ended up looking at this box in the right corner of the shop. I went off looking around the trash cans, which was one of my goals to find the trash hat, and then I met Alex. And then I met George, then I met Evelyn, and then I said nope. Afterwards, I met Penny. I ended up running into this girl named Haley, who ended up insulting me on my clothing and on my appearance, so I was very sad about that, and then I moved on. I met Leah, and then I ended up having a chat with her, then Sam. I spent the rest of my day just chopping down at trees and hoping to get my foraging level up by the end of the day. However, this would not be possible as I had a lot more things to do. I ended up meeting Jasmine, who seemed like a very nice kid, albeit shy. At promptly 5:50 p.m., I ended up going up to the museum to check it out. There, Gunther told me the sad story of the museum. I spent the rest of the day just going around and planting the rest of the potatoes that I needed, as well as watering up the parsnips that I had planted this morning. Then I picked up a chest before spending the rest of my night just mining and getting some fibers for more things later on. Day 1 complete. Started off day 2 by getting a letter in the mail from Pierre, who told me about his new backpack. Then I got one from Willie. I have 3 goals that I want to achieve during this whole run while I am watering my parsnips. I want to get 1 million gold. I want to get down to the lowest level of the skull cavern, and I also want to find the rare and elusive trash hat. As I walked around the town, I realized that I did not know where the beach was, so I was really confused about how I was supposed to get there. So I ended up taking a wrong turn again and again and again. So here I am looking very confused about where I'm supposed to be going. As I walked around the town, I realized that I didn't know where I was going, so I decided to swing, and I was exhausted by the point, so I decided to go and look into eating some daffodils to see if they would get my energy up. Turns out they didn't, so I talked to Shane. I gave him a rock. Walking onto the pier, I found out that I was going to be meeting Willie, which was the goal for today, so that I could start getting the first fishing rod that I needed. So then obviously I checked out a store, and he was selling me pretty good stuff. Then I met Elliot. Then I headed to the Stardrew Saloon, which was where I had hoped that I would be able to get a salad or something to perk my energy up. So then I ended up heading over to the bus stop, which had a dandelion, so I ate it. Now feeling really invigorated with the amount that the dandelion had given me, I decided to go over to the farm and start clearing out some more of the trees around the area where I would be able to start planting. Now, this was a stupid idea because I ended up passing out after trying to cut down the stump, but I got a foraging level for it. On the beginning of day 3, Clint came by to tell me about the copper that I found and gave me the furnace recipe. Woohoo! Oh. I now want to highlight some pass out mechanics. If you pass out at any point and you don't level up, you lose half of your energy and 10% of your gold up to a maximum of 1,000. If you do level up during that, your energy is restored and you still lose 10% of your gold. While I am fishing here, I want to let you guys know that I absolutely appreciate the support that you guys have been giving me, and I am sorry that this has taken so long to come out. Here's a little bit of catfish raging for you. Then I ended up fishing some more, catching a lot of trash and catching some of the items that I needed to get started. I unfortunately passed out at about 2 a.m. Why is it always Linus who ends up picking me up? I then spent a little bit of time just trying to figure out the position of the tree farm that we were going to have in the corner. I was really confused. After doing that, I ended up going into town to just try and chop down some of the trees in this town. Apparently people don't like that, so I talked with Haley. Then I got kind of confused about the bus stop. I took a little bit of time to start exploring the farm, and as I scythed at these weeds, I saw this little cave in the way, so I decided to go through and see what was going on within. Turns out nothing was really going on, so I decided to move along and just be confused at this moment in time. I was exhausted by this time, so I decided to just continue scything and creating more damage to the property that I have ever done before, and this is the total for the end of day 4. I was assaulted this morning by Marnie offering me a cat. Everyone, meet your new cat, Chupa Chups. Luckily, by this time, all of my parsnips had grown, so I was very, very happy. I harvested all of my parsnips and began to start my way over to the mines, which opens up on day 5 every single spring of every single year in the first year. I really need to get the backpack upgrade, or else I'm not going to be able to have any inventory space later on in the run. Look at how angry I am. I am very angry. I then got a delightful letter in the mail from Willie, and I got a nice letter from Joja. I bet they caused it. So then I had a parsnip eating competition where the only winner was me, of course. Yum. I went into town and saw Mayor Lewis at the community center. I believe that I should probably start getting started on this as soon as it opened. Mayor Lewis unlocked the community center, and now everything was open. I got jump scared by a green grape with limbs, which ended up disappearing as soon as Mayor Lewis turned around. When I went to look at the spot that I had seen the green grape with limbs, he decided to ask me if I was ill, which might have been possible because I had passed out already multiple times, but then I saw him again, so I had no more sympathy for myself. Now that Mayor Lewis had given me the option to be able to come back into the community center, I decided to go right back in once this whole cutscene was over. Heading back into the community center, I found this little hut, which was in the top left corner, so I didn't understand what it was, as I was very confused. I found this hidden scroll with very, very weird language on it, so I decided to just not even bother touching with it, as I didn't know if it was cursed or if it was just not. We're back at Pierre's again, and I had just bought 32 potato seeds from him so that I could start getting some big profit. While I'm watering the plants and potatoes that we have putting down, I just wanted to give a huge thank you to all of you guys who have been with me through this little stretch of waiting for the next content drop. It has been a very tough year for me, and I just wanted to say thank you right now. Walking back around into town, I ended up meeting Linus, who asked me to not destroy his tent, which I honestly didn't really feel like doing because I am not a person who does that, so I was very sad. On this way, it was right to begin for the mines, where I ended up meeting Marlin, who I just skipped his entire cutscene because I don't care. I got a bit of copper, which was useful. You'll end up seeing why later. I spent the rest of my day just chopping at trees and foraging. At promptly 9 p.m., I ended up going to bed and leveling up. I awoke on day 6 to a crow eating my crops. This really made me unhappy, so I went and stomped over to my mailbox, very angry. I then got a letter from the wizard. As there was really nothing for my crops to do except just sit there and be watered, I decided to head up to the wizard's tower. The wizard then ended up introducing me to the Junimos, which were a blessing and also a curse because they were the ones that had made Mayor Lewis think I was crazy back in the community center on day 5. After tripping on some dust, I ended up seeing the fact that I could now read the language of the Junimo, which were the tiny green grape things. I will always call them green grape things because I love them and they are adorable, although I want to chuck most of them through the window after they made me look like a complete fool in front of the town's mayor. After completing this final little bit for the spring foraging bundle, I didn't know what was to come. Looks like you get certain rewards dependent on what you actually get and what you actually create. So I threw away a leek to make room for my spring seeds. This then unlocked the pantry, and it also unlocked the fishing tank. So then I went and ended up going back to the mines in order to start on the quest that I had gotten from Marlin to begin going into the Adventurers Guild, and also to get lower down into the mines. I hadn't realized how late it was, so I ended up spending all the time down here killing monsters and mining for more copper, as well as almost dying to the slime, which I really hate when you start out on this beginning of the journey. So I passed out at around 2 a.m. It was now day 7, and I didn't really have many plans except to start reaching level 40. But then I found another crow. I decided to get the rest of my harvesting done so that I could get all the potatoes that I needed so that I could be able to sell them later on. Then I got this very, very, very lovely letter, which I hate. Running back into the community center, I decided to deposit the crab that I had gotten from the mines. Not knowing how much the price of any ore was, I decided to go up to Clint's to check out his stock. And now here is a montage of me killing things. The end of day 7. I checked in with my scarecrow. Then I hoed up some coal. Coal's normally found in rocks, isn't that correct? Then I got to the arduously boring task of actually watering all of my crops that I needed to do, which was unable to be done because I had run out of energy. I saw a dandelion at the bus stop, so I ate it for a little bit more energy. Grass. Shane does not like me. I ended up going over to the museum to insert this quartz. I talked to Marnie for a little bit about Chupa Chups, who I think is doing very, very well on the farm, and I was really happy about talking with her as a friend. I then met Harvey in the clinic. He got coal. I then spent some time over at Pierre's looking through the recipes, and looks like there's a new machine added for 10,000 gold, which is the dehydrator. I then also saw that some of my parsnips were being sold. I went fishing at the local river so that I could start trying to get my fishing experience up, which at this point was very, very low, and I wanted to get a little bit more money, so I caught a sunfish. After that, I ended up going onto the beach and I got a clam, which I then donated to the community center fish tank so that I could start looking into more fish. Then I was back over to the mines, which you'll see me just walking to right here, and it seems like at the end of the day, I passed out again. Jeez, I need to stop doing that, or else everybody will probably just think of me as insane. I ended up being angry at being built. I picked up this quest to kill 8 slimes, which was definitely needed for the money. It was back to the mines on day 9 in order to start getting down lower in the mines, and this is just a bit of a sped up time so that I can actually talk to you guys about something later on. If you guys do want to see a 200 days version of this or the second year, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button, as that will help me out a ton. There's a ton of new games that I want to look into, and I want to start doing more longer form content for this channel. On floor 9, I ended up running into an infested level, so I decided to just continue killing all the slimes that I could, and this actually worked out in my favor because I managed to complete that quest, and I also managed to get initiation. I still needed a little bit more in order to get the last little bit. And 2 ladders down really confused me, so I decided to go towards the nearest one, and I got these pretty fancy leather boots. Again, I don't know why I didn't just end up creating more and more space for my items, because I was really running out of space in any form, so I needed to get that backpack upgrade sooner rather than later. Now it's time to actually start smelting up the first copper bar that I had actually gotten in the first ever portion of this game. I only had gotten copper ore earlier, and that was when I had gotten the furnace recipe, so I was feeling pretty good about this as I waited for it to be ready. So then I spent the remainder of my day just foraging and chopping down trees in order to get up to the level 2 of foraging, and I went to bed. It was now day 10, and I needed to really get started on trying to get my 3 goals done. Going outside, I ended up looking into getting more water into the watering can, as I had full energy, so I would be able to create every single spot watered. We finished up all of the watering, so now I am just happy to be done, although that cauliflower is still going to drive me insane. Then I went on an eating spree to get my energy up. I opened up the chest that was in my house in order to grab the geode so that I could crack it open at Clint's. It was a very long day of running around and looking at the quest board. I completed this one. For Vincent's birthday, I decided to go over to him and just give him a rock. I cracked open this geode at Clint's and ended up getting Jadeite, which was an interesting material to come out of that anyways. I gave it to the museum and that was at the end of it. I searched through the rubbish and still no trash hat yet. I ended up talking with Vincent outside of the museum. Then I went and checked out the Adventurers Guild, which wasn't open until 2 p.m. So I guess that's when we will be coming right back in. I then spent the rest of the day just going around and mining for copper and slaying more monsters to get started on the monster eradication goals. And when I killed this little bug thing, he dropped me a scroll, so I had no idea what to do with it. And then I got bombarded by all of these flying guys, and I was not happy. It was already 9:10, so I left. At around 10 p.m., I ended up going into the Adventurers Guild to see what they had in stock and what they would actually have for me to do in terms of monster eradication. There was a lot here. It was 11:50, so I continued to go through and just get started on mining and trying to get up that combat level. At promptly 1 a.m., I decided to head right back into the house, and I went to bed for the night after petting Chupa Chups. This was a good move because I leveled up in combat. The bookseller was in town today, so I decided to look around and see if I would be able to find him. I guess this is something new with the 1.6 update, which I am so happy that this continues to grow. I checked out the museum and there wasn't really much to do. I did, however, place the Dwarf Scroll 1 that I had found because I didn't really know what to do with it and I didn't know what they would be used for later on. I headed off to Clint's to crack open 2 of the geodes where I got Nicoite and Alamite. Robin sent me a letter on day 11, which told me just about how I can get my well and all my refills. Promptly after that, she sent me a letter that sent me actually how to find her axe. Trust me when I say this takes me a really long time to do so I just decided to get potatoes. And it's back to the mines for the end of day 11. It's 8:40 already, so I decided to get some more copper and I decided to go in and start smelting more. I ended up exhausting myself and unfortunately was almost killed by this stupid flying bug creature, which seems to be on these levels when it is a green haze, so I decided to just continue moving until I was able to just get rid of them, and I was getting swarmed, so I just decided to run. Or at least pass out at 2 a.m. like I normally do. This was annoying. But hey, at least I got a level up from just passing out again. As it was raining the next day, I didn't have to worry about hand watering any of the crops, so I opened up my mailbox to get a message from Linus. Why is this guy the only person that ends up pulling me out of the mines or finding me unconscious every single time? I decided to go back into the mines again on day 12, which was because I needed to start getting more progress into the mines and see how far I could get down. Because I really want to get the skull key and I want to get down to the bottom of the mines. We got a little bit of copper, but there wasn't really much other than that. Except I did find this topaz, which was amazing. I think someone in town will really like this as a present. Maybe soon. I got assaulted once more by these flying buggy insect things, which me and my measly sword were doing like little to no damage. Luckily during that time I got a level up and I decided to just continue mining up copper ore for the rest of the day. I ended up donating that topaz that I had found earlier back to the museum because I thought that I could really use a little bit more cash on the side. I then purchased the backpack upgrade from the store so I could use it. Then I bought as many parsnip seeds as I could with the money that I had. Then I was fishing for the rest of the day, where I ended up passing out once again over exerting myself during the day and being stupid. I did level up twice though. I got a weird letter and then I got another weird letter. Then I finally got the cauliflower. A little bit of watering later and I was happy with how my farm was looking so far. I got another letter from Robin who was apologizing. She then asked if I wanted to upgrade my house. Then I looked at the lakefish bundle. I went into the mines and I really didn't have much of a plan for today, so I decided to just continue going until I felt like I didn't feel like going into the mines anymore. It wasn't until about 12:10 that I decided to just come right back up to the mine entrance and fish. And that is what I did for the whole rest of the day. I locked down my chests and I just continued to fish with the bamboo pole that had been given to me on day 5. And this was the haul at the end of the day. Unfortunately, today there was no level up, but I went to sleep, and at the end of the day, I got a hefty haul of gold. Day 14, and now my copper pickaxe was ready, so yay. I went through the chests that I had in my storage, and I decided to just grab the items that I would need for today. I went outside for a lot of forageables. Thus, I was granted a foraging level for my efforts. Then I promptly threw right back into the shipping bin for money. Heading over to the community center, I ended up starting to get worried about what I would need, so I decided to check out the fish tank. After struggling, I put in oyster. I need another rainy day. I then threw in a tuna, a carp, and a bass, and then to top it off, a bream. I headed back over to Clint's in order to check out his prices, and I remembered that I left a furnace there, so I grabbed it. Gus wanted a right cauliflower on this day, so I just decided to not because I already sold all of the ones. I went back up to the mountain lake in order to grab both of the chests that I had left when I passed out yesterday. We're back in the mines, so I decided to put down the furnace and put down the 2 chests because I really needed a lot more copper than I thought that I would need. I don't even know what I did here, but I just took a leak out of my shipping bin and decided to put it back. Trash algae. Yum. Fish, 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 fish. Level up. And then I passed out again. Great. This needs to stop happening or else I'm not going to get to my 10 million gold target. I got a nice one from Granny Evelyn though. I went into town and grabbed this quest. Luckily I had a bream from the other night. I deposited a bunch of rocks, then a cauliflower. I then ended up picking up a bunch of the oysters around on the beach. Then I sold the breams and the smallmouth bass, all in order to get the fiberglass rod. I ended up having a little bit of a plan for the fishing, but I didn't know if it would actually work. Turns out it kinda did, but it wasn't worth all of my time and effort to get 100 pieces of gold every single time I wanted deluxe bait. And this was the haul of all the fish that I caught before I decided to sell them all in the night. Help me, I really don't know what I am doing. This is like the only sped up version that I have of me waiting patiently for a fish to bite on the fiberglass rod without any of the bait. I was fishing until almost 2 a.m. Running out of time, I decided to start eating. And I got a pretty good chunk of gold from it. Remember kids, passing out is okay, even if you're still in school. I picked up all of the parsnips that had grown and decided to look in my mailbox again. Ugh. And then I got a letter from Harvey telling me I was poor. I know. It was fishing on day 16 in order to try and get a catfish for the community center. Little did I know how hard this would be. I managed to get the rest of the crab pot bundle done so that I could start getting ready for the next couple of bundles that would be coming my way, which was not easy. Completing the crab pot bundle meant that I would have access to another bundle, which was the boiler room. This meant I needed a lot of ores. As I already had a copper bar, I put it in there. I popped in the catfish and the shad into the river fish bundles. Now it's just back to the copper and the iron grind for the rest of day 16. By about 1:40 in the morning, I got to level 20 and I opened up the chest for a steel small sword. I popped a little bit of copper into the furnace. And then, as poetically as I can go, I ended up passing out again at 2 a.m. Will I ever learn my lesson? I really don't think so. Level 5 fishing and level 2 combat. I started off day 17 and ended up checking my mail in the middle, which was a really bad idea. I ended up looking through the geologist bundle and I went back to the blacksmith. Shane does not like me. For the rest of the day, it was really just fishing, as you can see from my hotbar in that split second before I cast this line. I am really not trying to do anything else except fish, so I can get more levels. Now I got level 6 fishing from my level 5 fishing yesterday. I started off day 18 by grabbing the parsnip and grabbing the green bean. Man, I'm poor. I hoed at this wiggly worm spot and got a book. So naturally, I decided to read it, which granted me a new power. I ended up taking over this job for Maru, which gave me a fancy little ticket, which I didn't know what was going on with that. And as I had found an amethyst earlier on, I decided to go back and just check through my chest to see if I had it. So then I decided decided to put the green bean that I had harvested earlier this morning into the bundle. Bulletin board bundle unlocked. Woohoo! Then I found out that if you actually tap the bushes that have the red berries on them during spring, you can get berries. It was back to the mines on the rest of day 18, just mining for copper and mining for other materials. I ran into an infested floor on level 27, which didn't really halt my progress, so I just continued killing all the slimes, and at the end I decided to just run up the ladder again. And by the end of day 18, I had gotten down to level 29, and then I rocked this rock, and I managed to get down to level 30, which completed my 1/3 of the way there to the end. I really had a lackluster day, which was not my best. I woke up on day 19, ending up having a message from Willie and a message from Linus. How does Linus always know where to find me? God damn it, Jody. Then I had a really nice herring chow time. Woo! Then it was on the path to try and get the farm cleared out, so I decided to use some of my energy just chopping at wood and chopping at all the trees so that I could end up making the farm look a little bit better during the section of year 2. If you guys do want to see a year 2 of Stardew Valley, please let me know down in the comments. Running back up to the community center, I decided to start looking around, and as I had gotten quartz from the mines the day before, I went over to the blacksmith bundle in order to deposit it and get that started on the geologist bundle, which was actually a very easy task if I just kept going deeper in the mines. Then I foolishly ended up trading the amethyst into the museum that I wanted to give for Marta. The mines, and I'm eating fish again. Who knew that I would always have sardines on my pocket? I went back to the mines, and while I was cracking open some stones, I opened one and got an omni geode. At approximately 1:50 in the morning, I ended up being besieged by bats and dust sprites, so that I ended up passing out at 2, like normal. It was day 20, and after watering all the rest of my crops that I had planted earlier on, I decided to eat some cave carrots to get my energy back. This would be crucial as I was trying to get to the bottom of the mines by the end of spring. Now, I decided to go to the museum, and it was a little bit early, so I needed to get rid of one of the amethysts that I had gotten earlier on. Then I decided to donate it and keep the other one for Abby. Over the rest of the day, I decided to get started on making sure that I was chopping down enough trees, as each one gave me 12 XP for each one that I chopped down. This would be crucial to leveling up my forging skill as fast as possible, because each one would give me 13 total XP with the stumps and the actual tree combined. I'm so fried right now, and here we go. I ended up spending the rest of the day in the mines, as you can see from my inventory when I open up from Marlon's shop. I was looking to get some of the items that I needed. I also got the insect head, which was a lot better than my steel small sword, so I decided to swap that out and use that for later mine run. This was a very pivotal moment in my career as a miner. It was back to the mines at around 7:30 p.m. on the 20th, and I decided to smelt up a little bit of the iron and then head down into the mines to get even more iron and even more gold, because I would need iron for the quality sprinklers and gold for the iridium sprinklers later on. And then I passed out in the mines like the mining addict I was born to be, with a level up finally. On day 21, I ended up waking up and I looked through this chest after getting the message that the bookseller would be in town today. This is really good. As we had already encountered this guy before, I decided to go right back behind the Jojo Mart building in order to go back and see what books this guy had. Remember, the books give you different powers depending on what actual items that you get. So I decided to look through, and I was going to aim for the price catalog so that I would start to be able to plan out my farms more efficiently in the future. Pain. I then went into the museum and donated the 1 bit of aquamarine that I had, which was found in the mines yesterday, so that was good. And I also ended up breaking open the Omni Geode to get some clay and a couple more geode to get some more rocks. Like, I'm serious, this was all I got. How? After perusing my own inventory for a little bit, I decided to try and sell some of the items that I had mined up so that I could actually get my first ever gold bar from buying that last gold ore. I then decided to give Linus a dandelion because he really likes wild forage. Then I was right back up to the mines in order to start getting prepared for more quality and more iridium sprinklers later on in the year. In any which case, it was now time for the daily morning mine run, as this would be crucial to the next couple steps of my plan. I didn't really have much else to do today, so I decided to just continue going down and seeing what else I could find in the mines. I started off this day very, very, very nicely in the mines with a juicy 10 iron nodes on level 41. By around 5 p.m., I had almost made it down to level 50 in the mines, so I hit it, and then I got the Tundra boots, which would be very, very useless. And on Area 51, I decided to start going through, and I actually got my first ghost kill here, which gave me a solar essence and some more gold, which was actually very, very useful because I needed it for the blacksmith. At approximately 1:30 in the morning, I got stuck on the dreaded spiral floor, which was very much not good because I was running out of energy and I had no idea if I would make it down to the bottom of the floor here. So I decided to continue working and I passed out. Level 4 combat attained. This was the haul of goodies that I had gotten from the mines yesterday, so I'm going to try and do this every single time I pass out anywhere in the mines. Venturer's bundle was now complete with that solar essence that I had gotten yesterday, so I decided to start setting my sights on getting a little bit more practice, and then I unlocked the vault bundle, which will help with crystallariums. And then I wandered my way over to the exotic foraging bundle because I had actually gotten a cave carrot and I put it in there. I ended up putting in the dwarf scroll that I had gotten yesterday into the museum. I got starfruit seeds and a standing geode, which would be useful. I went over to Clint's and I found out that I had gotten a fairy stone and some iron and a couple more things that would be useful later on. It was back to the mines and I decided to just empty everything out into the chests that were up near the beginning because I needed just my pickaxe and my sword. This will be useful for getting solar essence and it will be useful for getting void essence because those two things can be sold to the Adventurers Guild to Marlin. It was unfortunately a level 56 infested level, so I killed off the bats and the dust sprites and who knows what else was down there because I really don't have a clue as to, I don't take notes. I just do this all on the fly. On level 59, I ended up getting one of the most annoying things to do, which was the bat area, so I went and grabbed the crystal dagger from level 60 after killing one of them. After that, I immediately sold off the crystal dagger, the wooden sword, and the solar essence that I collected earlier. I then checked out monster eradication goals because those would be something that I would work towards in 200 days. And like clockwork, I passed out at 2 a.m. but with a level up in mining, which got me level 4. Day 23, and I got a lovely invitation to the flower dance. I really don't care. I spent the rest of this day just getting the 2 items that I had gotten, which was some kyanite, and then I got some more stone. I ended up getting down to level 67 in the mines, as I didn't really have much else to do today, so I decided to avoid the flower dance altogether, so I didn't get roped into that. At around 9 p.m., I decided to start getting into the community center, as I had actually gotten the gold and I had gotten the earth crystal from the runs yesterday in the mines. So I decided to go and repair the blacksmith bundle, which gave me a furnace, and then I also decided to get closer into the geologist bundle, which meant fire quartz. Then I spent the rest of the day fishing. And this was my current haul as I pulled up nothing because I was actually very, very tired. It was 2 a.m. I ended off the day just getting started to go back into the mode where I felt more comfortable, which was going right back into the farm. And as I passed out at 2 a.m. once again on day 23, this was the haul from all of the stuff that I had sold. I started off this day by getting the iron that had been smelting in my furnace. I cut down all the kale that had grown, and one of them hadn't grown, which made me extremely, extremely angry because I had hoped that it would actually grow with the same counterparts that it had, but I must have passed out before I did that, but I guess not. Picking up this last cauliflower, I got level 4 for farming, which made me very happy. And then I figured out that I don't need to open my inventory every single time I want to ship something in. I can just select it and throw it into the bin. I then opened up this tab of my inventory and in the options menu, and I found out that I have Forest Magic, I have a Monster Compendium, and I have Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Thick, which gave me a little bit more defense than it normally would. That was a very interesting point of 1.6 that I'm so curious about whether it's going to be something that will be continuing on in the series. As it was also a festival today, I just decided to spend the whole day in the mines, and at around 1:30 in the morning, I got down to level 81, which was a very pivotal moment in this area because this meant that I would be getting more gold and more iron and more diamond and more drops. That little thing that you see right there was one of the mods that I had installed incorrectly, which showed me the location of where every single ore and what possible things would be coming out of it. I know it's gonna be something that seems like cheating, but I am so annoyed that I didn't catch that before. So then I got level 4 farming, and I don't suffer an energy penalty. And I got level 5 mining, so I did geologist instead of miner, because I need more jade. Perfecto. I woke up on day 25 and decided to be happy about leveling up the previous morning. So I grabbed up what I could from my chests and began the process of beginning my journey towards the museum completion. This was going to be very, very annoying. I spent the rest of the day just fishing at the mountain lake because I wanted to try and get some more iridium fish so that I would be able to get more experience, and with every perfect cast that I did, I would get double the XP. I was on level 6 and I intended to try and get to level 7 fishing by the end of today. 13 iridium cart is really going to give me a lot of money. At 11:30 p.m. I decided to sell off all the fish that I had caught today. Then I decided to water my kale, my green bean, and the cauliflower that I had forgotten to water earlier this morning. And I smelted some gold bars for the rest of the day, and I was deciding to go to sleep. Level 7 fishing has been achieved. Woo! On the morning of day 26, I ended up going down to Willie's to look at how much the iridium rod was. It is 7,500, and if I continue to do what I have been doing for the past couple of days, which is fish madly, I will be able to get the rest. I decided to fish the rest of the day of 26, and I was so close to level 8 fishing that I could almost taste it. Unfortunately, after catching this anchovy at the pier, I ended up passing out at 2 a.m. like the idiot I was. If you had noticed that yesterday in my inventory, I had that fire quartz that I gotten from level 90 in the mines. I decided to use that today, and I was able to get the minecarts repaired after the Junimos did their fancy number. I had put in my steel pickaxe for the rest of the day in day 26, so I was able to get the last gold bar that I needed to get started on making it into a reality that I would be able to get the gold pickaxe by the end of spring. Now, this was not going to be possible, which was stupidly on poor planning on my part, so I threw all of my fish away, and I headed down to the bus stop to get a couple of daffodils and a couple of dandelions. I also found this artifact spot, so I decided to hoe that up, and then I realized that I almost forgot my hoe, so I got a lost book from that spot, and I decided to get started by using the minecarts for the first time in this run. While waiting outside of the museum, I decided to check the trash, and I got trash, which was unsurprising, so I decided to check through my inventory to see what I could donate. And as I went in, I had realized that I had gotten 2 things, the rusty cog and a thorny disc, so I got a new reward. I then went over to Clint's and picked up my steel pickaxe. This would be useful for a number of reasons. This means now I don't have to worry about using as much energy as I normally do in the first few levels of the mines. Luckily, during this time, I would be able to use the minecarts to get to place very quickly. I ended up beating up a slime for its gold in the corner, and I decided to get a holy blade out of it, which was interesting. And then while I was beating on this little box head knight thing, I decided to not have paid attention to my health, and I died. Linus came to give me a very nice pep talk. I'm sorry, but does he have a freaking track tracker on me? How is he supposed to know where I am every single time? I spent the rest of the day just going around looking for gold in the mines. This would be useful for quality sprinklers, and it would also be useful for iridium sprinklers later on in the year. The night of day 27 was very straightforward. I sold a couple of things. I was going to sell that ruby and that fire quartz, but minerals needed for museum. I ended up smelting a little bit of gold as I went to bed and got level 5 combat. I chose the fighter perk. Man, those fish sell for a lot. It was now day 28, and it was the final day of spring. So much was going on today because I just went into the mines and farmed for copper. I really needed a lot of it, and I also needed to work on my monster slayer goals. So I killed some slimes, killed some duggies, and I killed a couple of bugs. That was useful. I needed the copper for the quality sprinklers that I was going to make. I managed to get to level 90 in the mines today, which was really close to the goal that I wanted to get done in the first 100 days, which was getting to the bottom of the mines. As far as I know, it goes all the way down to 120, and I was about to do that. I immediately sold the obsidian edged marlin because I had no use for it, and I liked my holy sword. And then I ended up fishing for the whole rest of the day because I needed more money, and I needed it fast if I was gonna start getting towards that 1 million gold target by the end of year 1. And as I cast this line, I passed out. And for the final day of spring, I ended up getting myself a hefty 689 gold. Waking up on day 1 of summer, I decided to listen to the bopping soundtrack that was behind me after I read the 2 letters. I ended up throwing away the items that I had gotten yesterday from passing out after 2 a.m., so that's it. I then went back up to the mountain lake to grab all the stuff that I had left up there the previous night before because I would need it. While running over to Robin's shop, I ended up finding my first grape of the summer, which was actually very helpful because I would be able to use it for friendship. I went to the community center and put it in the foraging bundle. I went over to Clint's and I accidentally managed to throw a couple of rocks at him, which I bet he did not appreciate, but you know what? A gal's gotta do what a gal's gotta do, and that thing is throwing rocks at a poor blacksmith. I then went fishing for the rest of the day, which was actually way more complicated than you may think, as the summer brings new fish and it brings new challenges to every single bit of my world. At around 7 p.m., I decided to go back into the mines, and I actually had found a pretty good haul of materials when I was walking through. I killed the slime after many hits with my holy blade, and I was walking down to thought there might be actually something, and I found my first ever jade. This would be useful because there would be a lot more that I could use this for, such as duplicating and using it for money. I ended up passing out next to a bomb that didn't go off. Okay. I questioned why these worms are in the ground, and I decided to hoe at it for some reason, and I got a rusty spoon. I went over to Clint's, and turns out he already had my upgrade in stores, so guess I'll die. I smacked a couple of these red boys onto his anvil, and then I just didn't care. Then also back to the mines for a more grueling job than my 9 to 5 at McDonald's. After cracking open this rock on level 99 of the mines, I was very happy, and I decided to go down the ladder to open up this chest, because this chest will give me the one and only thing that I truly desired, which was my star drop. So I decided to eat it, and it turns out I seem to like to remember eating beans. What a weird taste, dude. Also, are you sure it's really sanitary for me to be eating a strange biscuit? As I was walking around, I realized that I actually had a cave that I hadn't checked out, so I decided to go in, and I got a blackberry and I got a salmonberry, which was really good for some more summer and spring foraging bundles. Then I plopped down this fancy little thing that Gunther had given me for completing something, and I decided to play a little bit of tune on it. Oh, my ears. Then I threw a red mushroom at Emily's face because I really couldn't care less about her and her stupid dye and clothing obsession. I also wanted to give a big thank you to everyone who has actually come this far and actually is watching until day 30. I will try and make these a little bit shorter in the future if you guys would like that. But anyways, here's the haul of fish that I got, which was pretty lousy for today. Over the night, I had actually heard something which was really strange, so I decided to just wait until it told me what it was. It turns out it was an earthquake. Really? Waking up on day 31, I got a excellent mouthful of iron to the face, and then I got a smack in the face as well for my copper axe. I ended up watering all of the rest of my crops, and then that was the beginning of day 31. I immediately went and picked up the copper axe because that would help me out getting with some hardwood and getting some newer items. Then it was time to check out the vault bundle, and I purchased the 5000 G bundle, and now I am broke. You guessed it, right back to fishing. I continued fishing, and I ended up getting my first ever sea cucumber, which was weird. And yes, I ended up throwing almost everything in there except for one of the jades, which I would need for the crystallarium later on after I got the 25,000 G bundle. It was right back into the mines at 840 and 850, and I ended up finding some gold on level 101, so I decided to pick up that, and then I just decided to head out directly afterwards. Oh, look at that. I'm already almost dead, and I'm almost out of energy yet once more. Will I ever learn my lesson? I really don't think so, because I keep on staying up until 2 in the morning to finish up whatever chores I have left on the farm. Here I go again, passing out. But luckily I did get a level up. Level 6 mining achieved. I got an earful of crabs on the morning of day 32, and I really wish they would stop right about now. Oops, wait, here comes the trumpets. I then decided to end up getting a couple of seeds. A blueberry, a tomato, and some pepper seeds. This was going to be useful for farming experience. Then I got a couple of corn seeds, which I didn't really realize had any big impact on my wallet. I actually ended up using the town spa for the first time on day 32, which I then realized once you stopped moving, it refilled your energy very gradually, which was definitely a good play on my part since I would need it for the mines later on today. Here I am running all the way back to the mine entrance at around 1 in the morning because I really needed to smelt some ores and I needed to get out of here so that I could get back before I passed out at 2 a.m. It was day 33, and now I just needed to remember that it was actually raining and thundering on this day, so I completely forgot to grab the lightning rods that I needed. I wasn't completely sure if I even had lightning rods, so I decided to go to the mines at around 9:30 to get everything prepared and get ready in the vision that I would need the lightning rods. I went and picked up the copper hoe from Clint, and then I cracked open a couple more geodes for increasing my museum collections. After donating the drum to the museum, I got a new reward, so I went to check it out, and it was a drum block. Yay! This will be in no sense useful as I would put it down and completely forget about it. I didn't want to completely bore you guys with all the details about me going to the mines, but most of these days, once I finished up with anything that I had to do in terms of quests, I always went to the mines to try and get the last little bit of progress. And then I ended up dying at about 12 a.m. Why do I do this to myself? This time it was Maru who actually picked me up. I guess that since I have a higher level of friendship with her, she comes and gets me sometimes, as well as Linus. And then I realized that one of the 3 things that I had dropped was going to be the iron that I have worked so hard to get. Luckily, directly after that encounter, I went right back to the Adventurers Guild and asked for them to look for my items, which would be very much helpful. I pet the cat, or at least I tried to, before I went and put all my stuff into the chest, and then I ended up heading off to bed on day 5 of summer. Wait a minute, I didn't actually pass out, did I, today? Or, nope, I did. The morning of day 34, I ended up getting my first ever batch of coffee beans, so I decided to plant them down so that they would continue growing. I then spent as many hours I could in the mines because I was trying to get up to at least 300 gold by the end. I had 234 at this point. And then I fished for the rest of the day, which was very much the smart move because I wanted to try and get my fishing level up to level 8 by the end of the day. Mining. Great. It was day 35, and so I decided to start off the morning by watering all of my crops. This would be very helpful because I was trying to get all the strawberry and trying to get everything else that was planted down. I honestly did not remember what I had planted down, so then I asked Clint to break open my rocks. This really hurt because I had spent so much more money and I had only gained just so little money from yesterday that I needed it to be done by the end of the day so that I could figure out what I could sell and what I couldn't. At this point, I knew that my 1 million gold target that I wanted to hit by the end of the year would be nearly impossible unless I started making moves soon. That is a lot of gold on this one level. I see 8 total right there. Holy crap. And finally, finally on day 35, I got down to the bottom level of the mines. I just kept on swinging my pickaxe and then I found that ladder. I am so glad about this, but I am not sure what I'm supposed to do with any of this information. Help me. But I did get the skull key, so that was a plus. I still don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this. Then I threw a mushroom at Linus. I didn't know if he even liked them, so I was taking a gamble on my friendship with him. And it turns out that getting to the bottom of the mines allowed me to get the newest game in the saloon, which was called Junimo Kart. Man, I suck at this game. This was my 35th attempt. After cutting my losses at Junimo Kart, I decided to talk with Clint, and he was very, very interesting, so I just had a sarcastic jerk. He did not like that. And on the way home, I ended up passing this wiggly worm spot, so I hoed it, and I got a lost book. Day 37, it just really, really sucked. And I mean that. I got level 7 combat, and then I got level 4 foraging, and then I also got level 8 mining. It was now day 41, and after that brief stint of me not actually having anything to record, I decided to go and look into what I could get for a couple $1,000 or goals. And then I fished the rest of the day, trying to get to level 9 fishing. Fishing has to be one of the most boring professions in the game, because all you do is sit there and wait for this green bar to go up and down and try to keep the fish in it. Why do I have to do this every single time, dude? I hope to get a couple thousand gold starting on day 42 by selling my fish. And then I did some early morning planting of the strawberry seeds that I gotten from Pierre's shop earlier that day. I needed it so badly. A good 899 gold. Day 44 was all about fishing and trying to get to level 9 fishing, because the more levels I get in fishing, the more iridium chances I have for the fish, which costs more money when you get the fisher and angler quirk. So there we go. I had remembered that I put the copper trash can in for an upgrade, so I decided to grab it. This will be useful because I would be able to get a little bit more money back when trash. I'm broke. I popped down a couple of tappers on the maple and oak trees. Then I threw some chests down in front of my trees because I needed some easier access to all the storage that I would be accumulating. This was by far one of the most profitable days of my career. On day 46, there was a green rain, so I decided to walk around. I petted the gato, and then I went down and I went and checked out all of my crops. It seems like the green rain ends up growing some of your crops, and I also got a lovely letter from Gus to tell me to hide, but I ain't no coward, so stay out of my way whenever I am playing games, because I will stay up as late as I have to. I went around and I cleared out some of my farm, and when I was whacking this green bushy thing, I got my first bits of moss. I then went to Marcelo's books, and I ended up getting the price catalog books so that I could start looking at what costed what, and then start planning my years around it so that we could more efficiently get to perfection. This has been my goal, to get the price catalog books since I had met him in the spring. I spent the rest of the day 46 doing a thing I like to call mine hopping, which is just resetting and resetting each level of the mines, and I got my first prismatic shard. Do I know what to do with this? No. I spent day 47 fishing out the mountain lake because I knew that I wanted level 10 fishing and I wanted so many more fishies. And with that, day 19 of summer gave me my biggest haul of money yet. Day 48 started out like any other. I decided to start planting down some more of this wheat seeds that I gotten yesterday from Pierre. I wanted to get started on the animal fodder bundle for the community center. And while I'm fishing here, I just want to say a massive thank you to you all for sticking with me while this project was being completed. It has been a tough couple of months, and I hope you enjoy. Oh boy, that's a lot of gold. Turns out a lot of the mixed seeds that I had planted were summer forageables, which definitely helped out with my foraging level. Heading over to the town square, I ended up looking at the calendar, and I needed to get a little bit more money in order to buy the calendar for my own house, which would be useful in this run. I essentially had a week to get everything leveled up to at least steel before it headed off to iridium. I went down to the beach for the rest of the day and tried to get the super cucumbers and the halibuts as often as possible so that I could get level 10 fishing. And in true typical fashion, I ended up passing out at 2 a.m. near Marnie's ranch on my way back to the farm. I really need a warp totem or something like that in order to make things work and get around a little bit faster. I awoke on day 50 to a field ready to harvest of hot peppers, which were very, very useful as I needed some for community center bundles and I also needed some for selling and as well as getting some more coffee beans to put down. I decided to get the Ring of Yoba because it occasionally shielded me from damage, which would be definitely helpful against ones that shot projectiles at me down in the mines, so I decided to do it. I don't even remember where I got the diamond from. And then I went right into the bat cave because I wanted to get some more, and I got my first peach out of the season. I had remembered there was a log that I couldn't break earlier on in this run, so I decided to go back to see if I could with my steel axe now, and it turns out that I could. So I entered into what was called the secret woods, and apparently this was where I mahogany seeds as well, which would be very much helpful to get more hardwood and a couple wood types for our farm. I killed a couple of slimes and I actually got one on my first or two kills. And then I went on a journey to try and catch a wood skip for the community center bundles. And after a pretty successful day 50, I ended off the day by putting in some stuff for the shipping, and I decided to get ready to put down my mahogany seed. I moved a couple of my wild plums around because I wanted to sell 2 of them so that I had 1 more for the community center bundle, and then I decided to walk around and try to figure out where I was going to put my mahogany seed, which I found out would be perfect to start right in the center of the farm. And then it was time to head on into bed and get ready to go to sleep. Little did I know something weird would happen today. I'm so confused. Wow, this is a lot of money. I started off day 51 by picking up all of the corn that had grown, which would be very useful for community center bundles and leveling up. I went and got my steel hoe from Clint, and then 5,000 gold later, I was back to being broke. Yay. And then I went down to the mines and decided to spend a little bit of time from there to get a little bit more gold and maybe a little bit more stone for upgrades. And then about 11:10 a.m., I decided to spend the rest of the day fishing. As you can see from the bar in the bottom of my screen, I have a pretty substantial amount to get down to level 10, and there were a couple of areas that I really needed to start improving on. And I ended up finishing off the day by picking up a bullhead, and I was so close to getting to level 9 fishing by the end of this cast. And then I sold all of the fish that I caught earlier because I would need to sell as many of them as possible for more money later on in our run because I needed to get some more in order to upgrade my tools and such. And I made back that 5,000 that I'd spent on the silver trash can. I had ended up picking the pillar perk for the level 5 farming, and that would help out with casting more and more items into the shipping bin like the flyers of hell because I really needed the money and I was really bored. As you can see here, I end up throwing all the poppies in there, which was a very big mistake because I did need the poppies for a community center bundle and I would not figure this out until very later in the year. And I got a shiny green rock from Clint breaking open my other rock. Interesting. And as I donated it to it, I got the achievement treasure trove and I got a reward on day 52. I spent the rest of the night just trying to figure out what I wanted to set in this top left corner of the farm near the trees. And then I was right back to the bat cave in order to get a couple of berries that I would need. I spent the rest of the night trying to get to level foraging for 5, which would help me out with another skill. I decided to go with gatherer because then I would be able to forage and get double the experience than normal. George acquired my assistance on day 53. I spent most of my morning trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of the day. On level 116 of the mines, I ran into a mushroom level, which gave me me a lot of the red and a lot of the purple mushrooms, which would be valuable for foraging. I was trying to get to level 9 mining by the end of the day, and I got my first ever emerald, and immediately another one on level 117. I also spent a little bit of time trying to get up to the combat level 8, which I hit, and I was very happy. The rest of the night was spent fishing, and it was looking I was going to be very, very close to getting level 10 fishing by the end of the night, and I got to 500. Now things are moving quick. I woke up on day 54 and completed the quest that I had gotten yesterday. I checked a couple of the chests that I had to see if there was anything worth selling. So then I fished. I fished a lot of the day away, and it was actually beginning to get to the point where I would think about getting the iridium rod, perhaps to speed up fishing. But by about 2 p.m. we had gotten level 10 fishing, and we would be ready to go to sleep for the rest of the night, as we would be able to upgrade and start selling fish for more. And this was very long-winded, and I was so annoyed that it didn't take me this long to actually figure out what the perfect catches do. In any which case, I decided to start going for a lot more gold and a lot more rubies and emeralds and diamonds within the mine during this day, because I was trying to get over 42,000 gold in order to get the vault bundle completed in the community center. This meant selling, and I mean a lot. I sold pretty much everything the previous day, so I was kind of broke, and I was still trying to figure out what else I could sell in order to make a hefty more profit. So after watering all of my crops and all of that, I headed over to Clint's. I went over to Clint's to see what he had in store and what he would be able to sell my pearls and diamonds and emeralds and all of that stuff for. And after debating all of the items that I could sell, I decided to sell all the iron, the copper, the coal, the gold bars, and the copper bars that I got, as well as the topaz and one of the diamonds, because I wanted to save the prismatic shard, as I didn't know what that would be used for. I then went back over to Pierre's and asked him how much my coffee bean, my wild plum, and the other items that I had gotten would sell for, because I was trying to get up to that 40,000, so I just sold everything. I put the tuna into the ocean fish bundle to get that completed, and I collected up the reward from there, which were warp totems. Then I spent all my money on the vault bundle, because holy crap. After that terrifying encounter with the Junimos, I just stood there and listened to this awesome music that was provided to me by them disappearing, which thankfully was very much my happy spot. So I got a little bit of calm and a little bit of relaxation, so enjoy this with me, please. I then ended up spending a little bit of time in the mines trying to get up to level 9, which I realized that gold and amethyst and all the minerals gave me more. So then I sold pretty much everything on that second row to even out the night. And after seeing the Junimos work, I got level 9 mining. Lewis seemed very happy with the restoration of the bus. This also made me happy because I would be able to start working on going to the Calico Desert, which was a new area that I had not gone to yet. After I walked off the bus, I went down this path past these couple of cactuses and these pine trees, and I found this wiggly worm spot and a thing that I didn't know what its name was, so I decided to go pick it up, and lo and behold, it was cactus fruit. Entering into the oasis, I met this new NPC. And then I got some starfruit seeds. I don't know why I got these at the literal end of summer. I recycled those and I got 2 cactus seeds instead. I went over here to grab a couple of coconuts, and I was intrigued by these 3 little lightning poles. Walking over to the left side of my screen, I saw this little cave and I saw this little pond, so I was really curious. Used for the skull key, I guess. I probably should have waited until I was a lot higher level and probably had a little bit more stupidity out of my brain at 2 a.m. Yeah, that happened. I woke at Harvey's and I realized I went to drop off some of the exotic foraging before warping to the beach. And once the festival was done, it was time to head on home and finish off summer of year 1. I woke up on day 57 to having Emily show up at my door and tell me how much she likes my farm, which I don't think is looking great because I haven't even gotten started on designing it. She also asked me about cloth and tailoring my clothes, so I have access to her sewing machine now. She told me to experiment, and that is what I will do later on when I don't really care much about the clothes that I'm wearing, because I like my skull t-shirt. I then got a challenge from Mr. Q about having a challenge for going down 25 levels in Skull Caverns. I then went fishing for the elusive tiger trout, because that was one of the items that I needed for the river fish bundle, and I was hoping to get him so that I could actually get that completed, and I only have 2 bundles left. This would be very valuable in order to get the glittering boulder and possibly get something new. Now only 2 more bundles remain. Ooh, and some bait. I decided to go over to the desert because I wanted to check out what this guy in the turban had when I entered in the first day. So, if I'm correct, then since it's sunny, if I get as many solar panels as I can get and just shove them in there, I will have unlimited batteries for life. Then I spent most of the rest of the day just in the skull caverns trying to get down to level 25. Little did I know that this would be an impossible feat until I had bombs. I went and talked with Sandy to see what she had in stock, and looks like I can't really get anything from her, so I am still broke with 302 gold to my name. So I decided to exit out, and I just didn't know what else to do. I then spent some time, and I saw this guy named Bouncer, so he said nothing, which was useless. I went over to the bus stop on day 58 and picked up a wild plum before realizing that Pam doesn't come in until later. Then I traversed and I found this strange battery-powered lockbox. Heading into town at 11 a.m., I ran into a cutscene with Mayor Lewis and Robin. Now that I could accept special orders from the board, I wasted no time in going over there to see what we had in Star. So we had 25 gold star vegetables, and we had a ectoplasm from Slain Ghost, which I thought that I could do in 6 days. I ended up heading over to Clint's because I wanted to see what else he had in stock, because I only needed to upgrade all of my tools to gold, and then I would be all set. Honestly, I don't know what I was doing here, but I was breaking things, and then I realized that it was way later in the morning that I thought it was, so it was around 1:20 a.m. that I skedaddled my butt out of the mines and decided to maybe not pass out this time because I actually had a decent chunk of change. And then I walked into my house and passed out in my bed like any normal gamer would. On day 59, it was in search of gold, iron, diamonds, and copper for more items that I would need to continue progressing throughout these years. And I got a visit from a crop fairy, which grew all of the corn that I was going to be harvesting later on in the day on day 60. The bookseller was in town on day 60, so I decided to pay him a visit after I got all of my crops sorted and get those shipped out. I had my eye on Way of the Wind because it would help me out with running, obviously, and I thought about getting some other books too while I was there, but I didn't have the money. I then headed over to the community center and deposited the eggplant and the pumpkin to the fall crops bundle, as now all I needed was the yam, and I looked around to see if there was anything else that I could do during that quality crops bundle. I really needed to step up my game with the quality crops. The traveling cart was in on day 61, so I decided to look through, and lo and behold, it had an eel, which was one of the things that I needed for the night fishing bundle in this community center. So I decided to possibly go and get it before I left the trader. Also, the futon bear looked so freaking cute that I really want it. I went into the desert and I looked at the warp totem desert recipe, which requires 10 iridium bars, but buying the actual warp totem itself costs me only 3 omni geodes. So I decided to start working on getting those iridium bars. Shortly after, I headed over to the 3 pillars that we had seen earlier, carrying the prismatic shard that I had gotten a couple days. I only learned about this from the wiki. But now I had the Galaxy Sword, which was a step up from the Holy Blade that I had, which would be very much useful in the Skull Caverns. Look at me, I'm very happy about this turn of events. Day 61 was going right back to the mines until 1:50 in the morning, where I passed out because I am too dumb to notice the time. Day 62, we are back in the Skull Caverns trying to get to level 25 by the end of the day so that I can get that key quest all completed. This would be impossible to obtain because I knew that I was just being too stupid. And to my surprise, I actually managed to do it because at level 15, I found a shaft that went all the way down to level 26. Why do I do these things to myself? On level 28, I had actually found a hole that I was going to jump into, but if you notice my health, I'm not looking too good, and I pass out before I can even eat anything and hop down that hole because I was trying to get to level 35 by the end of the day. Unfortunately, that would be impossible, as you can see. I got a nice letter from Mr. QI on the day of 63, which helped me out with getting the 10,000 gold that I needed towards perhaps getting the Wave of the Wind for the next time that I am ready to go with the bookseller. I ended up going back to the Skull Caverns on day 63, and I was fighting off the mummies and the ghosts here, but for some reason the mummies just would not die, and I had no idea how to kill them. Yay. I had gotten down pretty far in the mines, and I got to level 19 before I actually died. And then I spent the rest of my night just going around and clearing some of the trees and all of that to see what I could get, and to see if I could get to level 6 foraging by the end of the day. I spent a bit just looking at my skills, which meant I had 1 out of the 5 professions completely maxed out, which was fishing. I really love this game. And then I threw pretty much everything that I had gotten from today into the shipping bin so that I could ship it out for a little bit of cash coming day 64. I started off day 64 by chopping down the little tree farm that I had growing because I wasn't really confident in the placement of the trees and where I wanted to start getting things actually getting going, because I didn't really know what my design to the farm would be looking like, so I decided to get started on thinking about that for the later years. And then I had Clint bust my rocks. As I had seen this bridge earlier on in the playthrough, I decided to fix it up so that I could actually possibly get some new things for the community center. Urchins and coral have now been acquired. Returning back to the farm at around 1:40 in the morning, I threw all the stuff that I could before I was going to be passing out at 2 a.m. because I am a doofus. Ooh, gold. Day 65, and it was immediately to the bulletin board to turn in that sea urchin that I had gotten, and also to realize that I had made a mistake and forgot my poppy. And I also put in the common mushroom that I had. Now, with that being checked off the list, we have 1 more bundle of the foraging to do, and I believe that that should be almost half of the bundles complete within this playthrough. If I'm ever to do a 200 days video on Stardew Valley, I will come back to this desert and I will just cram it full of solar panels, because those will get me as many batteries as I need every single day, and every single time that I want my batteries, I can just go there with a warp totem. It was also near the end of day 65 that I got my first ever mystery box. I had run my gold hoe into upgrading for yesterday so that I could actually get a little bit more progress done on the farm during year 2. I spent the rest of the day in the Skull Caverns. Gold. I learned the recipe for trout soup on day 70, and then I checked out where all the rare crows that I had gotten could be placed, and holy crap, they have a lot, and I mean a lot better range than normal scarecrows do. Day 71 was a lot of fishing, and on this particular cast, when I had gotten the treasure chest, I didn't realize what a blessing this would be, so I decided to get the fish, and then I opened up the treasure chest at the end, and lo and behold, inside of it was my first ever ancient seed. I put in my gold axe for the upgrade, and by the end of the month, I had hoped to get both of my watering can and my trash can into the upgrade slot so that I could continue doing that. I then went and donated to the museum the ancient seed that I had gotten from fishing, so I was going to be very, very dumb in a few moments, and trust me. After checking out the fruit bat cave at around 6 o'clock, I decided to go back down, and I grabbed grabbed my ancient seed, but before I did that, I grabbed the jade from the crystallarium. And then I planted in the ancient seed, which was gonna be stupid because it was gonna be winter in soon. And it takes a whole month to actually work. 75, we get this very, very lovely cutscene. I know I'm kind of skipping through a lot of the days, but I didn't want this to be as long as I had originally had it, which was going to be over 2.5 hours of content, so I didn't want to bore you guys with everything, so let's get going. On day 78, it was going to the mines, getting gold, and smelting the gold again. Day 79 to 80 was for iron collection. The traveling merchant was back on Friday the 26th or 82, and I got 2 large eggs. It was now day 84, and while I'm clearing out some of these trees and some of these rocks, I just want to take a special thank you to those who have watched up to this point, or if you guys have left it on in the background, that is completely fine too, but you guys have my undying gratitude for me to be able to do this and to have people watch it and to think that it's actually really cool. Thank you so much. I grabbed the copper out of my chest before I went and smelted them in this really cool smelting setup that I have so that I don't have to worry about standing around for this. And these are the skills that I have leveled up by the end of fall on year 1 of Stardew Valley. And with that, that is the end of fall for year 1. Now it's time to actually get started on the final season of the year, which made me very happy because this meant that we had a very slow winter month. Before heading into town, I ended up putting in a couple of the copper bars and gold bars that I had that I wanted to smelt. On my way into town, I saw someone who had hidden behind a tree, and as I walked around, he went and just ran away from me, which I felt was really weird. I'm not that ugly, am I? After following his footsteps, I decided to talk with him, and he was very scared, so he looked at something valuable and took it, and then he gave it to me, which it turned out to be a new magnifying glass. I then spent most of the day just checking what I had to do, and I also went and chopped down some of the trees around because I needed to start creating more space for the farm later on in year 2. I remember I had died earlier on, so I got my copper bar back, which was kind of useless and kind of a waste of my money, but you know what? I don't really care. I'm still broke and I'm dead. Let's go for gold. I had the goal to get to level 10 combat by the end of the day, which was very, very close, and I got it at exactly 12:10 in the morning. So I headed back up to the mines, and I decided to leave because I wanted to look for some foraging. As I went around, I had found the snowy yam that I wanted, so I went and rushed my butt over to the community center to try and get there before 2 a.m. before I passed out. However, when I got there, I was 1 second too late, and I passed out just about as I was about to grab the plaque. Dude, that really, really sucks. But at least I got level 10 combat. Here I am, very angry about the turn of events in last night. So I finally turned in the snow yam that I had been trying to get, and I finally completed the foraging bundles for the community center and got scared out of my mind by the Junimos. And to start expanding the farm, I started chopping down the trees in the southeastern section of the farm because I knew that those guys would be a problem. Then the Junimos did their twerking little dance and fixed the bridge for me, which gave me access to the quarry on day 87. Marnie gave me a recipe for a new thing called pale broth, and then it was time to throw a lot of bombs at a lot of rocks. I then saw this strange cave on the left side of my screen, so I went through and there was a skull, so I didn't care about it. What does this do? Anyways, I ended up coming back in order to clear out some of the brush that was over on the western part of the farm because I needed some more space, and I was planning to put a couple of coops and barns. Days 88 and days 90 were just collecting up iron, gold, and refining quartz in order to get quality sprinklers because I would need a ton of them for the plan that I had for the actual farm in year 2. Because year 2 is where all of the money making and all of the stuff that I've learned comes in. On day 91, I began the trek over to the Wandering Merchant because I knew that I might be able to get something that I would need from her and I had the money to. So I went in and checked, and lo and behold, she actually had 5 batteries. Like, what the crap? I picked out 2 of them because I needed one for the bus lockbox and a lightning rod. At this point, I had gotten 0 of the quality sprinklers, so I crafted up 11 and I was going to use 9 in order to start preparations for the farm. I walked into the tunnel and immediately put the battery into the lockbox as I was going to save the other one for a crystallarium because I thought that I was going to use a lightning rod. It was now day 92 and the ice fishing festival had actually begun to start at 10 a.m. So I went down to the sewers, which I had unlocked on day 91, and tried to catch the mutant carp, which was one of the more easier ones that I wanted to get because I didn't know if I would be able to get anything else from it. I make a huge mistake regarding this guy later. That was on to see how many fish I could fish up in the short amount of time that they gave me, which is obscured by the day counter, so I'm gonna move that down right about now. Also, this whole time, I didn't even realize that the Wandering Merchant was here, so next year I am definitely going to get something from them because I am going to be a millionaire. I put down the quality sprinklers that I had gotten from yesterday's catch, and I decided to head off to bed to call it a night. It was 2 a.m. I wanted to end up getting a coop on this day, so I ended up selling as much of the wood and as much of the stone as I could before I realized that I only needed 4,000 in order to actually get the coop. So I decided to sell as much as I could, and then I purchased the coop upgrade. The coop is built in 3 days, while the upgraded coop and the bigger coop, consecutive ones that you decide to do, will be built in about 2 days by Robin. Wait a minute, I can move my house now? What? Nothing can go wrong here, I bet. Then I ended up spending the rest of day 94 trying to get another ancient seed, which can work from the larva and it can also come from the plant fiber later on in the run. Day 95, I am only mentally rich. I placed down a couple more of the quality sprinklers here, and I realized that my farm layout looks atrocious because I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. I will figure this out in time, and if you guys have any ideas in the comments, please let me know because I would absolutely love the feedback. On day 95, I had a thought that maybe there was something in this red lake that I found on level 100, so I decided to start casting my line, and I got a lot of trash, and then I got a bite, so I was really interested in what I was going to pull up, and I did bring my bait maker along just in case, because I had seen it be used, and I was interested in maybe catching some more things. Anyways, after struggling with this for a little bit, I ended up fishing up my first ever lava eel. I had seen on the wiki that there was mutant carp roe, so I thought if I threw the mutant carp in there, I'd be able to get another one, but only 1 per save file. Yes, I know I'm an idiot. You guys can scream at me in the comments all you want, but it's not going to change the fact that I am such an idiot. Not salty. On day 96, I had actually seen a secret note that had asked me to bring maple syrup to the woods. This'll be useful. This is the day I would like to lovingly call the Glacier Fish Saga. Oh my god. Oh man, this is gonna be a lovely change. I then attended to my chickens, which were named KFC and Nuggets for no reason other than I love KFC and I loved their chicken nuggets. Please help me, I'm starving. I went over to the traveling merchant and she was actually selling a walleye, which was one of the ones that I could not figure out how to get during the night fishing bundle, which was super stupid because I tried so hard and so many times to get it, and I didn't even get it until now when I'm already past my level 10 fishing. God. I went over to Robin's and she was selling the fish pond and it was 5,000 G, 200 stone, 5 seaweed, and a couple of green algae. And there we go. On the 14th of winter, we finally get the glittering boulder removed. This was such a grind to get most of these, and I am so happy that we are past halfway in our community goals. We should be able to get all of this done by the end of next year, and then we can start aiming for perfection during the year 3 and onwards. There unfortunately are a couple more bundles that I need to get, but I'm still happy. The Junimos did their little twerking dance that night, and I was happy to see them shake that butt because I needed the copper pan to start upgrading things. Day 99 rolled around and I went up there and I saw Willie, who he talked to me about it being removed, and I ended up asking about what happened and he didn't know, so I knew exactly what had happened because the Junimos had given me a time. And then he showed me what I could do with a copper pan that he had in his backpack. do this until very later. The night market was in full swing on day 99, and so I bought some kale seeds, and I was going to prefer to get a couple of potato seeds, but then I didn't realize that she did not have what I needed, which was to actually get the items for the 5 quality crops bundle on every single one, which was the last one that I needed. And then I went into the submarine, and it seems like I can go down for a price, but it was 1000 G. I had been told that I could get the midnight carp by going under the water here, but it seems like that was incorrect. So when I was wondering about what I could get, I could only end up getting the blobfish, the spookfish, and the midnight squid from this trip down in the submarine. I stayed in here until at least 1:20 in the morning, which was very stupid of me because when I did so, I didn't realize that even if I passed out in the submarine, I still lost at least 1000 G of my gold, and I wanted to go up, and it took me until 2 a.m. where I passed out, and you can see the aftermath of this in a little bit. Help me, or else I am going to scream. And yep, there I go. Oh my goodness, I am such an idiot. And it was officially day 100 of our journey. However, my task is to go for a full year, and that means 111 days straight of playing and being a complete goose on the loose with whatever I choose. So, if you guys are interested in seeing year 2, continuing from our 111th day to 211 days, please let me know down in the comments below. That would really help me out a ton. And then I fished the night away and got this weird secret note while I was at it. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do with this information. Help me. I'm not going to show you me passing out again at 2 a.m. because there was really no need for me to be doing that. So I went and tried to get up my foraging level, as I believe that was the only one plus farming that I still needed to get done by the end of this year. And then I spent the rest of day 101 as a fisher, again, trying to get a lingcod because I wanted to sell him for some profit and to get my shipping score up, and as well as the items shipped down because I still needed a little bit more, and there was going to be a ton of time in the next couple of days. Honestly, I don't know why I was angry here, probably because it was 3 a.m. Night of day 101, I sold everything because of this guy right here. And as I was walking up there, I had an epiphany. I had enough to actually buy Way of the Wind, so I got it. I really needed it, and I hope that he brings back some more stock, and probably part 2. And then I went to visit our little mouse friend who had the cutest things in the world, and I decided to get the watermelon band. Aww. I forgot that I still needed to get the iridium rod. I'll get it. What I do when I need the money now is that I will go out and I will fish, and then I will fish for a little bit, come back, buy some more bait with the money that I made from fishing, and then I will go back in and do the same thing over and over and over again. And I will also make targeted baits so that I can actually get certain items that cost a lot more to Willy, and then I can get more bait from that, and it's just a constant cycle and struggle. I walked back home and got to home at 12:30 in the morning because that is the normal time that I actually do whenever I'm awake. I went over to Robin's at day 103 at around 9 a.m. to check out the silo. I needed the stone and I needed the... Yes, I know there's other ways to do this, but this is it worked for me for the whole time, so you get to see me just scour the landscape with a fine-tooth comb. And then I went and smelted up the copper bars, which would take 30 minutes each, and picked up the gold bars, and then I was ready to hoof it back over to Robin's after I collected up the bars that had smelted just behind me, because this was the quickest way I knew about doing anything here. With the silo purchased, I decided to put it near the coop because it would be much easier to put it near there, and then I wouldn't have to worry about putting it anywhere else. And yeah, it worked like a charm. Oh god, I am so dumb. Robin, however, was not done over the past couple of days because this is actually day 108. I took 3 days off and I ordered her to make me a fish pond, and I also went and looked around for more things because I didn't really know what else I was supposed to do. Help me, please. I gave Vincent a jade. Shane gave me a wonderful pumpkin pie as he was my secret gift giver for this Feast of the Winter Star. Helpful. Leaving the Feast of the Winter Star early, I decided to end the festival and I decided to head back home, and I don't even know what I was doing until 10 p.m. in the night, but you know what? The 25th of December is always a happy time. I should have probably left milk and cookies out for Santa though. Oh man. And then I ended up going to bed at 11:50 p.m. So that was the end of day 25 of winter. UI Info Suite had told me that today was actually Clint's birthday, so I decided to go over there and give him the pumpkin pie that Shane had given me because I did not like the pumpkin pie. And then I requested that he upgrade my copper pan to steel so that I would be able to get more spots. On day 110, I had went and requested that Robin make me a barn so that I could start doing more things with the animals. And I decided to put it down kind of in front of everything, and then I realized that I don't have enough space, so I decided to put it right in front of my house, which was actually a pretty good idea, but I definitely will be cleaning this up. Luckily, I had enough energy to actually get through all of this, and I spent until freaking 6 p.m. doing this in-game. This was really annoying, but it was definitely worth it to get all of the trees out and start trying to beautify my farm. If you guys, again, have any tips or tricks in what I should do, I'd like your suggestions in the comments. Please let me know. I was so eager to finish off this year that I went to bed at 7:20 after checking that all of my animals had been pet. Let's go. I woke up feeling very energized. There was cranberry candy on the Sauce Queen, my steel pan was ready, the Wandering Merchant was here, and Robin was about ready to get started on the items that I needed to get that barn finished, because I was hoping to have it done by the end of the year, but unfortunately I had been a little bit too late. I went over to Clint's and picked up my steel pan, which would be helpful in the coming years from now on. And then I tried to catch another lava eel, which I'm sorry to say, but I worry that I might have fished that spot dry. I might not be able to get another one, but if you guys do have anything that actually will tell me if I can, just let me know down in the comments below. I'm an idiot, okay? I am just a goose on the loose. I went over to the traveling merchant at about 5:30 and bought the squid, and I bought the large milk that she was carrying because I remembered that I needed some of those for the fodder bundle and a little bit more cash on the side. And by 8 o'clock p.m., I was ready to get set and finish off this year. Look at how happy I am. Also, I did see an owl. And with that, thank you guys all so much for coming by, and if you guys enjoyed this, I'm so glad, because I put so much more effort and so much more work into this, and I cannot wait to see you guys in year 2. Have a good one. If you made it this far, thank you guys so much again for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.